He could be an Origin player with that sort of backing up.
Absolutely, yeah. But just not an international for England or New Zealand, because that's far too tough.
No. But Castleford second row forward Alex Foster, another one who came through at Leeds. He's signed a new contract to stay with the Super League club until the end of the 2021 season. He was already under contract to the end of next year. I think he signed a new deal last year for that. He made 35 appearances since joining CAS in 2017. The 24-year-old former Rhino trainee has scored 5 tries in 16 games this season. He's currently injured, I think, but good deal for him to tie him down, and he's certainly impressed of late. He was great at Magic Weekend, wasn't he? Which is when we'll have seen him.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, and I think that's good business for CAS. And what I quite like about these sorts of things, what you don't tend to get in rugby league are long contracts, apart from Jason Taumalolo. There's nobody else really who's on much more than a 2 or 3 year contracts, are they?
Yeah, I think Taumalolo and what's his face, Daly Cherry Evans, they're the exceptions, aren't they? And so everyone else is.
I quite like this idea of where you get like a sort of 2 or 3 year contract, and then after a year, if you're doing well, you effectively get another 2 or 3 year, which sort of moves your pay up slightly. I think that's quite good.
Recognises that he's now a first team squad member rather than a background squad member.
Yeah. And what I like about Alex Foster, because he was a guy who came from Wetherby Bulldogs, wasn't he? That was his community club. Right. And what I really like about them is, when you think where Wetherby is, it's only a few miles north of Leeds, but it's like almost sort of Virgin Rugby League territory.
Yeah, and it feels like a different sort of vibe to the place.
Yeah, it always sort of fascinates me that you can get just a few miles away from a real rugby league stronghold, and the sport can always be totally alien. So I think when you get players like him who's come from from somewhere like that and has made it, I think that's really good for that club. And they're a good sort of junior club, a sort of Wetherby Bulldogs. So I'm sure that they invite him back for the presentations and all the rest of it. I'm sure they sort of
He'll be a busy man.
Absolutely.
The only graduate they've got.
Presenting the trophies to the 8s, the 9s, the 10s, 11s. He's probably sick to the back teeth of them.
Huddersfield Giants Academy product Jake Wardle has signed a new 2-year deal with the club. The youngster made his debut last month. He scored 2 tries in the club's victory over Widnes, so he's an exciting talent with some serious injury problems behind him in his time coming through the academy. So it's great for him that they've seen enough promise in him this year to tie him down to a bit of a longer first team deal. So well done to that young kid.
Yeah. Although scoring 2 tries against Widnes, I'm not sure that's much of a recognition, is it? you and me could probably give that a good go. Sorry, Ludo.
Let's not get too excited. Okay, another bit of Huddersfield news, we think, but that part's not been formally confirmed yet. But the Manly Sea Eagles star Aquila Uarte is set to join Huddersfield Giants on a lucrative 3-year deal from 2019. The Fiji international has confirmed that this year will be his last in the NRL after being told by Manly he would have to leave due to salary cap issues. So he's told his teammates, "See you later, I'm going to England." It's just waiting for things to be tied up at this end to say exactly that he will be at Huddersfield on that 3-year deal, but that's what everyone expects. He's a star name. He's a exciting runner of the ball, not the greatest defender in all circumstances or catcher, but he's going to get surely it's a name that Huddersfield fans will have, the passing fan will have heard of, and some of that 4,000 who rocked up for free might think that was exciting, and we're getting this bloke from the NRL who was seen playing amazing in the World Cup for Fiji. Let's go and watch that. So hopefully,
I think that's a good sign, and you'd hope that he's a sort of player. A club like Huddersfield should be using somebody like him as a promotional, person, shouldn't they? Really, because he is a name. Most rugby league, people will have heard of him. A lot of the signs we get, you're not really sure who they are, but he's somebody that people will have heard of.
No, exactly. It's not whatever his name is that they've palmed off to Dewsbury.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Lebanon skipper Robbie Farah will return to West Tigers for the rest of the 2018 season. Farah, who played 247 games for the Titans between 03 and 16, has signed a new contract with the club until the end of this year. This follows his exit from South Sydney. The hooker will begin training with West this week and be in contention for their game next week against the Titans on the 1st of July. That's interesting news. I didn't even realise he'd left the Rabbits. So
I didn't know.
There you go.
Either, so.
But a return home for him. Bit of news today that's come through that's kind of a big story, I suppose, but not necessarily huge for rugby league, but it has a bit of implications on us, is that Wigan head coach Sean Wayne will turn to rugby union at the end of the season after taking on a role with the Scottish RU. Wayne's going to leave the Warriors at the end of the season and go straight into being high performance coach at the Scotland national side. He said, I see this as a fantastic opportunity to not only impart what I've learned over my career in rugby league as a player and a coach, but also learn myself from union and look to support the excellent work already being done in Scotland. You might have different views to me on Sean Wayne, I'm sure. I think it's a shame we've lost someone with that much passion and character and drive for the sport, from the sport. That's a disappointment. But if this means he can go away and come back with a bit more experience and lead our national team down the way, I wouldn't necessarily be too disappointed. But it is a shame that we're losing him from the sport in my eyes.
Yeah, I mean, we probably have different views about Sean Wayne, as you'll have picked up over the years. I really love his passion, and I quite like the way he's sort of interviewed. He's somebody who talks from the heart. He's always good for a quote. He's not a sort of cliche type coach. But I've seen quite a lot of sort of reaction today, particularly from the press, which is about, what a loss to the game and this, that, and the other. But to me, I'm not sure it is a big loss to the game. Could you see him anywhere apart? So once he said he was leaving Wigan, could you see him going anywhere else? I just couldn't see him at any other Super League club apart from Wigan. So if he's going to leave them, well, then he's leaving it. It doesn't really matter what he does. I wouldn't see it as...
I understand what you're saying. I always sort of felt that sort of passion that he brings through, as well as knowing how to deal with the players and getting players up for games. And clearly, whilst the rugby that Wigan have played in a couple of the seasons under him hasn't been champagne stuff, in some of the other seasons it really, really was. Clearly, with the right staff around him and the right players on the field, he gets results. And so I would have liked to see those results being earned for the Lions or for England, but we'll see if that comes to pass in future years, I suppose. Yeah. But no, I get what you're saying. He is Mr. Wigan.
Yeah. Can you see him coming back to the sport? Because I mean, I've known.
Yeah, he'll have an axe to grind with someone. He seems like the kind of person who takes things personally. And if he gets an opportunity to come back and get one over Ian Lennigan, I think.
Yeah. So that's. I mean, it's my thoughts on Ian Lennigan. So I sort of put everything. Every ill in the world's down to him, I'm sure. But
he put you on that fucking train, didn't he? This morning, the wrong one.
He sent me to
Bolton, I knew it. But
I think that for him, I mean, I've no problem at all with our people going to rugby union and earning a shed load of money. All fair play to them. They've developed a whole set of skills and knowledge in rugby league that they can then put to the market, and they can take money from unions. So I'm all for that. But I just can't really see a way back into the game for him, because I can only see Wigan being the only place for him. But I reckon somebody like him going to union, spending a bit of time there would look, because there are some things we can learn from union. So I think that he's the sort of bloke who I think would learn that and could bring it back to the game. But
and at the Six Nations level, it's so professionalised and the training setup and stuff. You'd think that there'll be things that we could implement into our international structures for certainty, and like the centralised contracts nature of it.
But
maybe we wouldn't go that far in our game, but we'd be able to learn how that process works. Yeah.
But I just don't see anywhere for him apart from Wigan in the game. So,
but
we'll see. Maybe as you say, I don't know. It'll be fascinating to see what happens to him. So good luck to him anyway.
He loves the sport so much that exactly. No ill will on my part. You wanted to touch on another story as well that I neglected to include, but I should have included really. But it's a long list of names to read out, so we'll see how we get on. Probably won't read out all the names, but the England youth coach Danny Wilson has selected his 22-man squad to take on France in a 2-match Test series over in Perpignan next month. Wigan Warriors have got 5 players selected in that squad, Brian, and the headline name of that is Umlia Hanley, who's the son of legendary rugby league man Ellery Hanley. Warrington have 4 and Bradford have 3 in there as well. There's also a players in there from Cass, from Leeds, from the City of Hull. They've got a couple each. One of the City of Hull players has a familiar surname, Ben McNamara.
Yeah.
And then, there's a player in there from Wakefield, Huddersfield, St Helens, and also, positively, a player in there from the Newcastle Thunder. So the North East Academy kind of has scaled back down into just the Newcastle Academy, but at least they're producing something there. So that's exciting. And you look through particularly the northwest sides. It's Nathan Clement, who's a Cramlington Rockets junior, who we're all aware of, the orange crush at Magic Weekend. But a lot of the players, if you look through those, Wigan and Warrington in particular, they don't just come from within Wigan and Warrington. So there is people that are being drawn from different areas into those sides as well. I mean, Warrington have got a kid, Morgan Burgess, from Barrow Island. There's players in there from Alton Raiders.
Yeah, and
Sheffield Hawks. That's the Corey Hall, the Wakefield rep. So there's people from around the place, as well as those clubs that have got people in there and the local teams to them. So it's good to see there's a bit of a range coming through still from all around the country into these youth setups, and very excited to see how Hanley pushes on, because he's started to really show some real promise in the under-16 side for Wigan this year.
Yeah, and for me, one of the things that I sort of, whenever I see these squads, I always look at the sort of community club that these kids have come from, because whilst the focus is on the sort of professional clubs, and sort of classic is sort of Ryan Hampshire, who spent a long time at Wigan, but he came from Normanton. He was a Wakefield kid, came from Normanton Knights, was there for a long time, and now he's back in Wakefield. So to me, and having spent quite a lot of time in the sort of junior leagues and whatnot around it, I think there's some. I'm pleased now we now publish the name of the sort of community club these kids have come from, because there's some clubs like West Bowling and sort of Kipax and whatnot that these players are sort of signing from. So one of the Wigan lads comes from Kipax, which is in sort of Castleford, Leeds area, and the sort of dads have been putting in the time to develop this kid since he was 6 or 7 and whatnot, and keep him interested. So now he's got, and now he's going to get some real good quality coaching, hopefully, at Wigan, and hopefully, really move on. And one of the other ones there, Brad O'Neill from Wigan, comes from from Holton Farmwood, so it's one of the witness teams, isn't it? I think.
Yeah, exactly. And there's Crossfields have produced quite a few players. There's players for Crossfields in the Wigan representatives and the Warrington one, so things look good for that side. But a few of these clubs, like you say, there's some amateur clubs we know from the NCL coverage and the more historic names and stuff, but a few of the clubs aren't quite as big, and it's great to see that those clubs are producing, and there's a value for all of this grassroots stuff that we also so much in
one
our
of the
game.
ones who sort of captures my thing is a lad called Brad Graham, who's from Castleford Tigers, and he goes to and the team he plays for is Alton Raiders, which is a team that's sort of on the border between Leeds and Wakefield. It's just in Leeds. And the school he goes to is Kettlethorpe High School, which is my local school here in the south of Wakefield. So he's therefore, there's a real sort of, Cass, Wakefield and Leeds mix there. But that sort of just shows that all the different coaching which will have gone into him over the years.
I wonder what shorts he goes to.
Yeah. I also wonder what sort of team he supports.
No, I mean, that's all good stuff, so I'm glad we were able to pick that and also pick out some of those community clubs as well. Okay, that's the news from around the world of rugby league. We're going to look back over a few catch-up matches in Super League now. Super League match reviews time then, sponsored by Rob's Toy Shop on eBay. You can find a wide range of toys, gifts, rugby league, birthday cards and more at Rob's Toy Shop on eBay. Visit stores.ebay.co.uk/Rob's Toy Shop, and on any orders over £5 you can earn 5% cash back, and also 1% of your order value will come straight to me and the SLP coffers if you put SLP discount in at checkout. All the details of that will be up on the blog after after you finish listening to this, go over to superleaguepod.com and check out how you can take advantage of Rob's fine offer.